Okay, on that note, let's just dive right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, good evening, everybody. I've got Bailey Brewer with me today. Bailey, how are you today?
I am absolutely fantastic. How are you this fine evening?
Um, I've had a great evening. It's been a chaotic day. I've got a bunch of kids coming and going, so I was really busy. Had to rush back to the house, but outside of that, I've been excited to talk to you.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's do it. I've been excited too. I've been looking forward to this for the last couple weeks. So
Uh,
thanks for getting on my radar.
yes, ma'am. On that note, I want to ask, how did you get started, and let everybody know what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Bailey Brewer, and I am full time into my OnlyFans and Fansly career. I am, you could say, the proper name is I'm a sex worker, and I make porn for a living.
Super cool. It's one of those unique things that I would have never saw coming. And how did you exactly get started in all that?
All right, well, that is a long story, and I don't mind diving into it. It was interesting. So I actually got started my OnlyFans in on February 11th of 2021. I'm pretty good with dates, so I always remember that stuff. And I started it as really just a side hustle, right? And I something interesting about me is that I ride horses and I ride competitively. And in 2018, I had the opportunity, or at least the opportunity was presented to me that I could compete internationally and represent the United States with my horse. And so for several years, I saved my money and I was saving quite a lot of money. I mean, I was saving probably about $200 per paycheck from my corporate job so that I could go towards travel costs of getting myself and my horse overseas and being able to pay that. I was hoping to save, about 35, 40,000. And, I realized in my track, even though I made good money at my corporate job, there was just no way I could make that gap as far as from what I could save reasonably into being able to afford my dreams, really. And so I started on OnlyFans, kind of at the push, the loving, endearing push of my husband. It was definitely a joint decision to do it together, and I had to get his support too, which is very important to me. Um, and so I kind of kicked it off as a side hustle, just something that I did on the side. And I remember my very first goal. I didn't really know what I would do or what I could do. And so my goal was just very simple. I was just like, oh, if I could just make enough money to pay off my car payments, which was like $300 a month, right? Like if I could just earn enough money to make a little bit of side cash and replace that and make, be able to use that dollar amount and go towards savings, I would be really happy. I'd be freaking thrilled, right? And that's kind of how it started, was just I just wanted a little bit of extra cash. It was an interesting hobby. I had to learn about it and learn about the industry. That was a tough part. And that really kicked it off. So I'm just about to celebrate my 2 year anniversary in the adult entertainment industry, and being on the spicy sites, OnlyFans and Fansly. So that's pretty exciting. 2 years is a long time, and it's been pretty life changing.
Well, congratulations. 2 years. Yeah, it takes a lot to throw yourself out there, and then to be able to be consistent for 2 years is no
Yeah,
joke. Yeah, that puts some effort in.
absolutely, absolutely. It is not without work. There is a lot of work involved, just like any job. There's a lot of work involved, especially a lot of work if you want to be successful and go somewhere with it, really.
Yeah, the self-employed, everybody thinks that means I'm going to be able to choose when I want to do something and I won't have to work much. And then you end up working
Yeah.
twice as much.
Yep. Yep. There's a saying. I mean, when I used to work in my corporate job, which I did enjoy, the when you quit your 9 to 5, and work for yourself, you go from working 9 to 5 to working 24/7 because you're self-employed. It's your business, and you just have a little bit more passion and obviously, and pun intended, a little bit more ownership in it too. So, yeah, I flip-flopped. Instead of working less, I just ended up working more.
Yeah, but it's on your terms. It's your
Absolutely.
circumstances. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
curious. How much does it cost to ship a horse to Europe?
to Europe. So all told, so we just competed last fall. So in October, November. It's a very long trip. And when we put it all together, there were some unforeseen costs that popped up. My horse got pneumonia on his way home, so he had to be in a professional isolation in LAX when he was flying home. But we rounded it out to about $65,000.
Wow, 65,000. That's a wild.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I didn't even pay that much for my Denali.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
nice car. I got three TVs in my car.
Yep. It don't trust me. It's not lost on me how much it costs, but honestly, it that was my dream,
I
right?
was
And
gonna
it's
say it's
still
your
the dream.
passion, so I'll be honest with you. There is no money. Yeah,
No, no. I mean, you can always make more money, right? But you can't always have opportunities like that. And that opportunity presented to me, and it's just money, right? You just do what makes you happy, really.
and I'm excited. You got to do something that you get to control and own, and you get to do a passion that you like, and they kind of they correlate a little because I saw some of the outfits seemed like it
Yep.
kind of went in both directions there. Do
Yep.
you like doing the costume thing? Do you like the role playing part?
I do. The things that I wear, are true and they're authentic. And so I ride both English and Western. So the Western has, the hat and the chaps and everything. And I do compete. I wear this hat that I'm wearing right now. I've competed in it and I won quite a big title wearing this hat. So it's real. Um, and I something that a philosophy that I had when I started doing this was that I always wanted to be authentic to myself, and I always wanted to give my viewers and patrons a real genuine experience. And I really hate being fake. I don't ever want to be fake, and it kind of angers me sometimes when you see other people just wearing certain outfits or saying certain phrases just to be clickbait because that's what they think people like. And it bothers me because I do live this lifestyle. I do ride. It is important to me. And the things that I do wear, I mean, yes, I'll wear a frilly little bra with my chaps, right? But like my chaps are real and they're custom made for me. And it's all authentic. I don't buy things just because it's a trigger for people to want um, to follow me and look at my work, right? So everything that I wear is authentic, and I don't ever want to. I'm not a fake cowgirl, right? I see a lot of girls, they think, oh, if I just wear a cowboy hat, then I'm a cowgirl and they'll love me. And guys love cowgirls. I'm like, yeah, they do, but maybe you should follow a cowgirl that has some world championship titles behind her back. So you know, I don't ever want to fake it.
Authenticity definitely gives you that extra leverage that no one else can
I
touch.
I would hope so, and I hope that authenticity and how genuine I am comes through in my work, because that would be the ultimate compliment to me. Is that, hey, you are what you say you are, and you're giving your viewers an authentic, real experience. You're not just acting or being theatrical just for the camera or just because dudes love it, right? It's real and I live it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, that's why I think I love doing the construction worker stuff because
Yeah.
I can pepper in some of the videos of them working, and they talk passionately about being able to fix that problem or solve it,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun to just see the mundane daily grind of what they do. And I think
Yep.
everybody starves to see everybody's day to day stuff. It's more
Yeah.
compelling than you
I,
think.
I agree. I mean, I guess for me, even when I watch TV and I watch documentaries, I love watching true stories because it's real. And I would think that there are some consumers and folks out there that are tired of seeing everything being staged. And so when you see something real and the authenticity and people having challenges and it's gritty like that, that just makes it so much more meaningful, right?
Yeah, I agree. And if it could be live, it's even more fun because then you get like those mixed in bloopers with it that that kind of pepper in a little extra for you that you wouldn't expect on something we would have watched on TV 10 years ago. You know, Modern
Oh
Family,
yeah.
there's no glitches. You know, in
Oh
Game of
no.
Thrones, there's no mistakes. And if there is, everybody loses their mind anyways.
It's funny you mentioned that and bloopers too, because I'm actually working on my videographer and I are actually working on putting together a bloopers video just for our fans, just because that's real life
Yeah.
and bloopers happen.
And it's fun because it's something you don't expect. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think I was filming a striptease video and I was doing it in my barn and because someone wanted to watch me striptease out of my riding clothes. And when I got down to my boots, my fancy, really expensive boots that were custom made for me, I mean, they're fitted on you like a glove. They're like I was trying to take them off and I'm trying to do this super sexy striptease, but I damn near fall over because I'm trying to take this stupid ass boot off. I left that in the video. I didn't cut it out or anything. I was like, yep. If you guys watch this striptease, you can see me almost eat shit and fall over. So that's just the real life, man. You
Well,
gotta
it makes
take it a
you
little bit.
the real girl, the girl next door kind of vibe when you make a mistake, when you're not
Yeah,
perfect, even though you can jump back in and start getting sexy again. And
right.
yeah,
It was like,
makes a
I'm
huge,
just gonna
I
let it
think it would make a
fly.
huge difference.
Absolutely.
So, what would be the most awkward moment in all of that kind of stuff when you're in a moment where you're like, shoot, we're gonna have to edit this out? Has there been anything that no one else is seeing that would be an awkward?
Ooh, awkward moments, right? In the heat of the moment of filming. So I definitely get a rush out of filming things in public. So like public sex, public naughtiness. I mean, to a degree that, you know, like I'm right, like I you don't do anything around kids or anything like that, like none of that, right? But like, you know, at Oktoberfest and at the rodeos and in the parking lot and other like kind of sneaky ways.
It is fun. It
There have
is
been
fun
definitely
because there's the element of getting caught.
yeah, there is, and it makes it such a rush, and it's such an adrenaline rush, and it makes it a lot more hot. And it's always a quickie, right? Because you don't want to get caught. But I have definitely gotten caught before, and it was interesting. So I was in Scotland not too long ago on my tour of Europe that we were going through, and I we were in an elevator and we thought the elevator of this parking garage. So it was a parking garage and it was late at night and it was like, I don't know, a Tuesday evening. And we're like, perfect. The parking garage elevator is fantastic. Elevator content is so going to sell. It's going to be great. And you're going to work and then you think the coast is clear and then all of a sudden that elevator starts moving and I don't think I ever gotten dressed so fast in my entire life. I was like whoop and just like pulled my coat on and luckily I had my shoes on already. So that was a little awkward walking out of the elevator and like smoothing down your clothes really quick as this dude like walks in. And so I thought that was awkward, but of course, it was fun, right? So that was a good one.
So, how much of your content is on the spot? How much of it is just spontaneous?
Mm, I would say about half and half. There are certainly times invested a lot of money into our recording equipment and cameras and software. And, you know, when we decide that we want to film something that's going to be really high quality and it's probably going to be at a little bit higher price point for that video, then yes, it's very intentional. It's planned out. There's a little bit of a storyboard ish to it. Just like, okay, it's this position and then this position, and then we're going to end it like this, right? Kind
Camera
of like a
two and
loose
then camera
storyboard.
three and everything.
Yep. Yep. And we'll have several cameras and we'll put it all together and it's fantastic. But I will say, there are times that sometimes like I'm not going to go lug all my camera equipment to Oktoberfest, right? And it's just going to be like, hey, we found these really great bushes over here. Let's go and just pull up your skirts and you just film it on your phones, right? And it may not be the best quality image,
But
but
again, it's that unique moment in yeah.
it's just in the moment. I mean, I've made content in a gondola going up a mountain before, and it was a 13-minute gondola ride up a mountain, and it was probably one of my most favorite videos ever, 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 ever.
Great
And we just put up.
background scenery.
It was like this big, beautiful, summery mountain range that overlooked the lake, and we were the only ones in this gondola car, and it was a 13-minute ride up. And so that, yes, that was very spontaneous. I'm not going to lug a whole bunch of camera equipment just to do it, but you're like, dang, we should totally film here. That would be so rad. So we just whipped out our phones and kind of placed the phones in like kind of a decent angle, right? And then there it is. It's very genuine. It's very in the moment.
Bailey, that's super cool. And I'm not going to lie to you, it sounds like you have a fantastic job.
I love my job. The job is really fun, and
Yeah.
I make sure that it is always fun for me, because when it's not fun, you can see it, right? It comes through in the content and in the videos. So I was just like, you know what? I just want to do things that I know I'm really gonna love, because that's, again, that authenticity comes out, and I wear my emotions on my sleeves. Um, and again, also it is a job, and but it's a fun job, and I work for myself. And I mean, technically I work for all of my patrons and all my fans, giving them great work. But to be able to dictate what I want to do, where I want to do it, how I want to film it, etc., really, really makes it a great job for me.
Very cool. Okay, on that note, what was it like the first day? That first day when you said, okay, I'm going to commit to this. And then all of a sudden, it was real. You were, I don't know how the scenario went. You were in your robe,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, it was action.
Yeah. I would say I actually have two first days.
Okay.
So I think I have the first day where I actually officially started my OnlyFans and really getting into it. And that was interesting. I have to laugh at myself. If you know nothing about me, I make fun of myself all the time. And I laughed at myself because I was like, I'm not going to do porn. That's so trashy. And so I was like, no, I'm just going to put on lingerie and just post a couple pictures, and I'm not going to be nude. And my husband kind of laughed at me a little bit. And he's like, that's not porn, just so you know. And he's like, you need to get your tits out. I'm like, so it took me a little while to actually transition to fully nude work and really showing that. So there was a bit of a trepidation, right, into doing that, and how am I going to be received, and also how do I do this? So yeah, in the beginning you fumble because you don't know what your consumer wants, because this was back in 2021, before all this really became really big. And so I was just trying to feel this out and be like, okay, well, what's successful, what's not, what do people want to see, what do they not want to see, etc. I think my second first day was when I left my corporate job, my full-time day job, to officially do this as a full-time thing. And I will tell you that that was wildly more scary than the first time, my first day, because, I enjoyed my job. I worked for a private equity company. I made really, really, really great money. And doing the OnlyFans and sex work on the side was a really good boost. I enjoyed having two streams of income. But there came a point, there was this inflection point in my work where, I love working for myself. I'm really tired of getting up for 7 a.m. conference calls that are a bunch of bullshit. I'm tired of reporting to a boss that I really can't stand. My work at my job feels pretty meaningless sometimes. I really love what I'm doing now on the side, because I'm actually making really fantastic money. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's this inflection point that if I give up something, just like any entrepreneur, right? And I worked with business owners all day long, from businesses that were 2.5 billion in publicly traded entities that were that big, and I worked with them. And I worked all the way down with some startups and entrepreneurs and everybody in between. And I always empathize with business owners because they had to take that leap. And it was funny because I found myself needing to take that leap into self-employment. And it was hard. I mean, you stared down the barrel of the gun because porn is a lipstick commodity, right? It really fluxes and with the economy. And so you never know when suddenly the bottom is going to fall out and you don't have any income coming from this passion hobby that I have. So that was really scary, was like, okay, do I leave a sure thing where I get benefits and I get a really great salary? My boss generally leaves me alone when he's not being a jerk. I had a pretty cush job. And so that first day that I became truly self-employed was a little wild. I was like, okay, well, now I have to not fail. Now I have to keep this going. But I had planned really well. I don't ever do anything without looking 5 steps ahead. And so I had a lot of good advisors. I worked with my CPA, who's a wonderful friend of mine. And I worked with some other small business advisors that were just in my professional network. And they really helped me kind of give me clarity and some direction as far as what to do and ensure that I'm successful. So, it's not just about porn, it's about being self-employed and owning a business. So it's you have to think about it in 2 different ways, right? So
Yeah, you got to take it
it was
seriously.
it was a little crazy.
But I'll be honest with you, if you didn't take that leap, I think you would have regretted it the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been and I told myself, I'm trading my time. And if I decided that I wanted to spend more of my time doing things that are grossing more per hour, then go do that. So it was a very good decision, and my business absolutely took off after that. It gave me the capacity to do more and better work, and my content wildly improved, wildly.
How long did it take before you guys weren't editing it and someone else was doing it all for you?
Well, that's a great question. So, my husband is my male talent in the videos, and he actually kind of took it upon himself to learn photography and learn videography. And so my hat's off to him. I really owe him quite a lot because he has actually been growing with me, right, in his own education and experience in photography, and doing all this editing, because there is so much editing, in that goes on in the background. It's hours and hours and hours, especially when you have multiple camera angles and you're working with microphones and making sure all of that looks great. I mean, his experience has really grown with us. So I'm thankfully that I haven't had to outsource any of that. I've kept
Oh
it
wow!
all
Okay,
in-house.
you guys are you're still doing it all yourself. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. Okay,
Yep.
that's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, we're still doing it all ourselves. I'm not quite sure when I will see that change, because my husband has such an incredible interest in doing it himself. But I think there will be a time eventually where we will need at least a separate cameraman to help get some of the better angles for us.
Yeah, yeah, because there's some angles that just they have to be in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm really impressed that you guys do it all yourself for the last 2 years.
Yep. Yep.
Because
All
I think
ourselves.
I'm just under 6 months and I'm still doing everything myself. But it's part of the journey to learn it all. Learning how to use the video editing, playing with the different stuff that you have, and all. I find that part of the journey that I need to learn, especially once I get really good at it. That I can outsource it and say I know what it takes, I know what I expect, and I know what
Right.
you're doing right now. And I want to make
Yep.
sure that I'm there before
Yep.
I give it up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And everything's a learning curve, which makes it really fun.
Yeah, yeah, because you
And
just don't know. I thought you push a button, everybody
no,
likes you, and that's the end.
right.
And it wasn't
Right.
like that. I learned all kinds of stuff, yeah, that I had no intention
Yeah.
of learning.
Yeah. And that's great. It's been part of the journey, and which makes it, you think about it more, and the way that, you even brought that up, it gives me appreciation for what we've done, what we produced. And of course it can be better. It can always be better. It can be more professional. Of course we can get the bigger cameras and the bigger sound system and yada, yada. You just go down the rabbit hole. Right. But, for what we've done so far, I mean, the quality of work is pretty rad. We're really happy with it.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun to say I can do a little bit more. I got a new idea. I got a new this, and then you try it out and it fails, but who cares? It's like going on an adventure and never finding the lake that you were looking for. But
Yeah.
you do it a couple times,
And
and then you find that honey hole that no one else knows about.
And the nice thing is, every time, my husband just told me today when he was editing a video from when we were in the Dominican Republic, that he's like, oh man, the camera's making this weird noise every time it like auto focuses and the microphone's really picking it up. And I'm like, well, do you need a new lens? And he's like, yeah, I think we need a better lens. I'm like, great, that's a business expense. Go buy a new lens right now, right? Like, everything that we purchase and all of this software and all these lenses and everything, they all have their own ROI, and it will pay off. So I'm like, just go and expense it and just call it good.
That's awesome. All right,
Okay.
what do you think has been the biggest boo boo or mistake that you guys have made, and how did you overcome it?
Oh boy, the biggest mistake I've made. Um, this might sound pretty corny. Um, but I think, gosh, let me think about that. That's tough. I think right off the top of my head, my corny answer is, my mistake was not in the beginning, was not advertising and marketing myself enough. There's a mistaken thought, especially by newbies that are just starting this, and they've decided to create their own OnlyFans and go that way. And I've had people reach out to me and ask me, give them some tips and things like that. And the consensus is sometimes the same, where the folks that are just starting their career, for example, let's just say they start an OnlyFans page and they have the false idea that simply existing means that business will come their way. And so it's kind of like when you open up a storefront, just because you have a good to sell doesn't mean people are suddenly going to flood into your doors. You have to market, you have to advertise, you have to go seek out customers and patrons and let them know that you exist. So, rhetorically, how do you let people know that you exist? And I remember for several of my first months, I was like, man, I feel like I'm talking to myself in a crowded room. Why isn't anybody noticing me? How do I get the business and the traffic to come my way? How do I get people to subscribe to my pages? How do I get the word out? And the biggest mistake that I had in the beginning was just thinking that, oh, I have an OnlyFans page and I'm posting nudes. That means people are going to come and subscribe, right? And no, there's no search function. Like, just because you put things out there doesn't mean traffic will come to you. So it's just the same as if you own a shoe store, right? Like, you have to put ads on TV, you have to do this, you have to put up booths at expos, you have to do all these things as a business owner, right? And for my digital online footprint and my business, it's very similar. And so my mistake was, and this is where it gets corny, is I didn't do the right things early enough, which was as soon as I started really getting on TikTok and doing some other avenues, I was reaching more people, and not just, the 5 people who had subscribed to me out of generosity or pity, whatever. Like, as soon as I started, and TikTok has been a big generator, as soon as I started doing that, holy cannolis, my business went from like doing nothing to insanity. I was like, are you kidding me?
I've noticed TikTok's great. I noticed a lot of the girls, like in the morning and early afternoon, they just go on and cook something or hang out in the kitchen and just let everybody know that they're gonna go do their
Yep.
OnlyFans thing. And I'll be honest with you, it's a really smart thing, because it's like, I'm gonna advertise a little bit of what's gonna happen later, and it
Yep.
doesn't cost anything. It's not like, and you can actually make a few bucks with TikTok.
Yep. You sure can.
Yeah, it's a great little avenue where you're basically on the billboard all the time.
And this was back in 2021 and early 2021, when TikTok was still generally pretty new. Thirst traps weren't really a thing. And if they were, I mean, I got so much hate. I mean, you just get haters and
You
trolls on
just gotta
everything,
ignore
right?
it.
It's
You
just,
gotta, yeah.
you
Or
can
play
move on.
along and use it as traction.
There you go. Um, So I would say my corny answer to that is what is my biggest mistake was in the beginning, incorrectly thinking that simply existing means that I would get business. And I should kick myself for that because as someone who used to advise businesses, that's a bunch of bullshit. So
Isn't it funny how we know what the right thing to do is, but when we're in the moment and there's a crossroads, it's so easy to pick the wrong direction.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's kind of like, oh man, I gotta take my own advice, girl. So
Well, the thing is, you don't want to think that you were wrong yesterday.
right.
You don't want to believe that. Who wants to believe that I'm doing this for nothing on purpose? Do you know? No one
Right.
wants it. Yeah. So, what was that crossroads moment? What was that day where you're like, I need to go on TikTok? I don't, because you picked the perfect time. Everybody was stuck in their house, and if you were going
Mhm.
to catch anybody on TikTok, you were going to catch everybody in 2021.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Um, so part of my one of my regrets is I didn't start doing this earlier, right? I almost wish I had done this back in 2020, but c'est la vie. What was the crossroads? I mean, it was kind of my husband's fault, I guess. I mean, he really pushed me into doing it and starting on it. I really pushed back. I'm like, no, I don't want to learn new technology. This is for new kids. I'm 33. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I'm like, I want to stick to Instagram. And he's like, you're being dumb. So I'm like, okay, fine. And so, we get to that crossroads of like, okay, well, let's move on and do these things and start advertising. And TikTok has been a great avenue for advertising. It's kind of just springboarded other ways. Okay, if I can do this, then where else can I market in a good way, right? It's kind of springboarded ideas as far as, well, where can I get my name out? What other foot traffic am I missing? So by doing that and kind of seeing the success and some of the challenges and some of the failures, it's just pushed me to be a little bit more hungry to be like, okay, I can't put all my eggs in one basket with one type of social media. When you start branching out a little bit more and just trying to be a little bit more creative. So that's been an interesting learning tool as far as, okay, well, I can't just sit on my laurels because sometimes TikTok is a real pain in the butt too. So it's not always user friendly for gals like me and what we do.
Yeah, because you got to keep it G-rated generally. Maybe PG. Maybe you can get away with
Yep.
PG, but you
Yeah.
can't. You can't mess up too many times. You can't.
I've lost count the number of accounts that have been banned. It's a little frustrating sometimes.
I'm sorry
Um,
for laughing, but it makes sense because it's so easy.
well, and I won't go on too much of a tirade, but I see some people posting some really scandalous stuff. And I'm like, dang, you can see your nipples through a shirt, and yet I'm like bearing an ankle and my video gets banned. Come on now. Come
Well,
on.
I think there's also the other factor. You got to make sure that if one troll like flags you, you're done.
Yes, I've unfortunately had that happen before, actually pretty recently. If someone, and that's the crappy part. If someone just it goes back to, if you can't say anything nice, just don't say anything at all. And I tell people, if you don't like what I'm doing, then just move on. Just keep
Well, not only
scrolling.
that, I think you could unlike it or something where they won't show you stuff like that again.
They could,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
You
you
can
can.
unlike it
So if you really don't
once.
want to see it, you don't have to
Yeah.
see it.
But I had a guy or a person, I don't know if it was a man, but I was going live on TikTok and all I was doing was doing my hair and putting my makeup on, and I was wearing just a big oversized t-shirt. And I remember I happened to look down and I saw the comments that he said something along the lines of, I'm reporting you, I've reported your live. And I'm like, all right, jerk, whatever. And I go and I end my live. They actually let my live keep going. And all I was doing is just in a t-shirt, doing my hair and makeup because I had a dinner date. And then I go and I click out of my account and I try to click back in and my account's been banned.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, you know what? That's real dumb.
Well,
That's
it's
real
kind of
dumb.
mean. It's kind of mean because say he was competition, he could just say that you're doing something you're not doing, and they don't even they just assume guilt.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
kind of frustrating.
And unfortunately that's just kind of the nature of the beast. I'm not the only creator, the only person in the industry that happens to. I mean, that's why you see very, very successful gals like myself. We have multiple TikTok accounts, we have multiple Instagram accounts, because if you bear an ankle wrong or whatever, too much side boob, or I don't even know, like,
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
get.
There's some times where someone can slip a nip like 5 times, and I've never seen anybody complain at all. And then, yeah. Then all it takes is just one hater, I guess. I don't know. And like I
Yeah.
said, I'm pretty sure you can unlike that thing. And not only that, you like a couple things or watch it a couple times, it goes on a tangent real quick, and you can go down a rabbit hole of science fiction or
Oh yeah.
family guys on top of someone else talking while playing a video game, and before you know it, that's all you see for 2 days.
Yep. The users drive their own algorithms.
Yeah,
So if you continually like girls that wear cowgirl hats, then you're
you're
gonna
gonna
see
get
videos
yeah.
of girls in cowgirl hats. That's what happens.
So like I said, my first guess, if you weren't breaking any rules, was it was either someone hater or like I said, a competitor trying to knock down anybody he can get.
And
Spent all day doing it. Now there's
unfortunately,
got to be a way where TikTok's like, this dude's a troll. We got to stop him. Because how many times can you report?
endlessly, I'm pretty
Ah,
sure. But that brings
it's
up
such a
I mean,
crazy.
there's so many inner workings of the industry, that there are some really shady and really shitty creators out, shitty as in like bad people, creators out there that just want to cut down other creators. And
And
I've
scammers. I've seen a lot of people out there that are just like, I want to promote your thing or whatever, and they're just scammers. They just want to get a quick buck.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some predatory stuff, and sometimes it just leads to some infighting in the industry. And you know what? Just do your own stuff, people. Just do your own stuff. Keep your eyes, stay in your own lane.
Yeah, that's good advice for anybody, to be honest with you. Bailey, you are super fun, and I really like this conversation. I had no idea what to expect, and I don't even know what the audience would like. I was thinking, I was like, man, the audience is gonna want like a Playboy thing where you say these are my likes and my dislikes, and these are my turn ons, my turn offs, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, that sounds kind of cheesy and 80ish. And talking to you for an hour, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're far more articulate than I would have presumed. You got a good head on your shoulders, great, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just I could talk to 20 people before I get someone with a decent vocabulary sometimes. And
Well,
you definitely have been doing some serious work in the corporate world, and you I would assume you have a degree and all that stuff. So don't ever count a horse before you get to know it. You don't know what you're getting, and
fair.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy, and I'm thankful that you invited me on here. And I will say, and I won't speak about every other gal that does this, but a lot of women who are on OnlyFans and do this kind of line of work, they're educated, they're
Yeah,
intelligent, they came from great careers. Some of them were nurses, doctors. I was an economist,
yeah,
engineers. So, you know, we're
which
good people still, and we
yeah,
do good.
which actually I think makes it more cool because if you if you had this already kind of epic job that you went to college for, and only 3% of the people are playing with the economy or engineering or whatever, and then you say, I'm going to go on this adventure anyways. I think
Mhm.
that's twice as cool. It's twice as fun. Um, it's more unique. It's far more unique. So I bet you there's so many people out there we have no idea the backstory or where they, and it's probably actually more fun. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna pursue more young ladies that put the effort on in the morning, and I'm gonna try to catch a couple more because I bet you there's even a cooler story of how they landed on this, or the first ones that come up with this idea, or who knows,
Mhm.
man, who knows?
Hey,
Uh,
we all have great stories, and everyone has their own why, and everyone has their own reason why they started and their own reasons why they keep doing it. And it's a great job. It is a great job. It's a fun job, and I'm glad I'm doing it. And and it gives me great opportunities to meet people like you. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So Bailey, I have a question. Did you see this getting to the point where you'd be traveling all over the world with the extra money and the horse going to Europe was no big deal? And
I tell you what, I every single day I am surprising myself, and take this as I'm also incredibly thankful and grateful for my success and the people who have helped me be successful. I have never, it is never in my wildest dreams thought that I'd be doing this and living this lifestyle and being self-employed and being as successful and profitable as I am. And it's great. It has changed my life. It's changed my life for the better. And I don't want to give it up for at least for a while.
now I
So
have a question. Do you think you would have gotten this far if your husband didn't push you?
I don't think I would have gotten this far. I He has definitely pushed me, and so he's my partner, right? I mean, he's my longtime partner. He's not just a partner in sex work. He's not just a partner in a videographer, but he's my best friend too. And we work together. And I owe a lot to him because I would not be in this place without his help. There is so much that goes on in the background, and I'm not just talking about setting up cameras, um, but the emotional support of having a great partner. It's a team effort. It really is. And just
Okay.
because I'm on the camera most of the time doesn't mean he's not there. And so I really have to give him a lot of credit because he's also has a very creative mind. And so he's also trying to find ways for us to market in a different way, or go to this place, or let's film this scenario in this situation. And I'm in porn, and so he's a guy, and he's like, well, from the guy's perspective, this is what we really like to see. And here, Bailey, this is what you should do because that's what the average guy likes to see. And he's like, look, I've been watching porn since I was a kid, right? I am your consumer, so do it like this. And like, it's great to have that blushing firsthand experience because he gives me some great pointers. So a lot of times I mean, it's funny because a lot of times I see my work from a female's perspective because I'm like, oh, I want to do things and move in a way that makes me feel good. And he's like, that's great. And you should do that. But also, you're selling to men, not just to women. I'm like, all right, well, that's fair.
Actually, I don't know if you know this, but they've done tons of studies. Male and female partnerships are unstoppable. When
Yeah.
they have detectives and they have a male detective with a female detective, they solve cases exponentially greater than female, female, male, male.
Huh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and there's been studies, a list and list of studies. So it's not just the X Files. It's not just, but
Right.
so many variables where they've done analysis on how male and female interaction is. Because you're right, he'll have a creative idea, you'll have a creative idea, and especially when you know each other well and you guys know each other intimately and you trust each other, and he knows your weakness, you know his sloppy laziness or weakness, and you know how to maneuver around each other so that you can maximize that. Where
Yeah.
they've never found a partnership where that works better than that.
And you're right. It is a partnership, and we're business partners in it because this is you remember it's our job too, right? And so this is the business that we own, and our business is selling pleasure. And I will say that, yeah, just like any other business, sometimes you fight with your partner and you kind of get in some arguments, and sometimes you just kind of let it simmer and let it go. But genuinely, we get along really well. So it's I would not be where I am today, and we together as a team would not be and living the lifestyle as husband and wife if we didn't do this together. If it was just me and I didn't have his blessing necessarily, or even if I had his blessing and he just wasn't necessarily there to be a photographer or to do all the marketing and to help me in all these ways, I would definitely be a struggling creator. So
Oh,
I owe him a
I
lot.
believe that. Yeah, I agree with you because yeah, when you're trying to hit that target, you got two minds trying to do it. When a
Yeah, yeah.
storm comes, you got two minds doing it, and not only that, when you get a little bit shaky and iffy, and you're like, I don't know if I want, he could be jump in, and when he's like, I'm done, you could say, nah, just edit one more hour, and you get twice the longevity out of the effort when there's
Absolutely.
two minds really focused on that one purpose. So
Absolutely.
hats off to you guys. That's really cool that you guys do that.
Well, thank
That's
you.
another thing I would not have seen by talking to you, that you guys would be like a dynamic duo.
We are, yeah. And a lot of creators that's very similar too. Not very many creators are single, and they are working with their spouse or their partner. And to have that, I think, is just invaluable too. I mean, just from the basic standpoint of, consumers want to see a guy and a gal together, right? So I mean, there's that, but um, having your partner be very active and take not only a supportive role but an active role is a little bit different. So that's been a game changer for sure.
It probably wasn't that hard to convince him to jump in either.
No, not at all.
Who doesn't want to be the star of the show? Everybody wants to be the star.
Yeah, I mean, bless his heart. Sometimes he drags his feet a little bit in doing the editing, but I totally get it because editing is kind of just like you're staring at a computer screen for 8 hours, putting together videos or going. I mean, when we went to the Dominican Republic to film, and I mean, he probably took about 1,000 photos when we did some
That
photography.
sounds exhausting.
It is, and I'm like, hey babe, can I get some of those yacht photos? And he's like, but we'll get him eventually. And I get it. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but our photos turn out really, really well.
Very cool. That's super cool. So where else have you guys been? You've been Dominican Republic, you've been to Europe, you went to Scotland, you said?
Oh my gosh, yes, we were in Amsterdam. So Amsterdam was amazing. We just went to Dominican Republic. I haven't gone to too many international places recently, just those. But we just do a lot of weekend things. We really like being able to get out of our house and film at a cool location. So sometimes we just go to like a resort, a mountain resort that's an hour away or 2 hours away. We make a weekend out of it just because it kind of changes up the physical scenery of the outdoors and the indoor buildings too. So we do like to do a lot of weekend trips
Okay.
or,
So is that where that I saw on some of your Instagram, you have like a trailer, like studio?
I do have my horse trailer, the big one that I got. We travel a lot in that.
Okay.
Um, but usually if we're doing anything at home, we just set up kind of in this back room here.
Of course. Okay. I wasn't sure because I saw it real quick and I wasn't sure what that was all about. Okay. So,
Yeah.
do you guys have a big farm? I assume you must have a lot of land if you got a bunch of horses. How many
Yeah, so I
horses
have
do you have?
So I have 3 horses. I'm actually right now I'm in the middle of moving to a larger horse property. I'm moving to Central Oregon, which has we bought a new house, bigger house. It has 17 acres right at the base of the beautiful Cascade Mountains.
Wow.
Right now I'm only on about 5 acres and a smaller home. It was a great starter home and starter property for us, but we needed something a little bit bigger. And I will say again, we would not have been able to make this physical move or like the quote move to a larger property if we hadn't have done this job, right? Buying a big 17 acres with a big, huge, beautiful house on it, a big old barn and a big arena, that's it's pretty penny. And being able to do this job and being able to afford that move is was pretty cool. But yes, I'm in the middle of a move right now. If you could see my house, there's almost nothing in it. I was moving a whole lot of boxes today. We've got storage units. And the nice thing about this new farm that we're moving to, tons of great opportunity for new content, outdoorsy content, hiking content, things like that. So that's right up my alley.
Yeah, yeah, 15, what are you, 15 or 17 acres?
17.
Yeah, 17 acres is a lot. That's plenty of land to have a lot of fun.
And
Absolutely.
it may not be as much as some folks in the Midwest or anything, but this is Oregon, and so it's a little bit more expensive to get parcels of land like that.
Now,
But
is it one of those scenarios where you can literally see the mountains in the background?
yes, sir, you sure
Oh,
can.
wow. Okay, so that's super cool then. That's a
Yep.
unique. I've never seen the Rocky Mountains. I've never been that far west.
Yeah. So you can see it's the Cascades. And if you cross them from when you want to go from the Portland, Oregon area over the mountains and go into Central Oregon. So more like the high deserts type area. Maybe if you think like Wyoming-ish kind
Okay.
of setting, kind of what it looks like out there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys. That sounds like a lot of fun. So when is the move-in date?
So we officially leave here on the 21st of February, and the last thing that's in the trailer are my horses. Gonna load them up and roll out, and then we get to our new place on the 21st.
So
So
you guys have to be exhausted.
yeah.
I can't believe I
So,
got you on the podcast.
no, you're good.
Because I think we agreed to this at
A
least
while
a
ago.
week. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I am. Right before I got on with you, I was working with my husband to get boxes down and put them in our pods that
Yep.
we rented, and yeah, so we've been very busy. It was very stressful to go through when our house was live on the market, and how it affected my business was I had to turn down a lot of custom work that people were asking for, and so I was like, I just don't have capacity. And so it did have a little bit of an impact, but it's been very busy, and I'm glad we're finally through it, and we're about to make the official move, and that'll be very exciting to be kind of done.
Yeah. Because that's a daunting task. But it's a great opportunity to get rid of stuff that you really wanted to get rid of, that you refused to get rid of, that now you kind of have to get rid of.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of downsizing as far as stuff.
And it gives you an excuse to go buy new stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And that's gonna be one heck of an adventure all by itself.
Oh yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely intend on having at least a nice studio in our new house that it's going to be good for filming and photographing and some good lighting, and the new home is more like a lodge style.
Yeah,
So
my
that's going to
daughters,
have
my daughters would be so jealous. They would love to have horses and
yeah,
a stable. Oh yeah, they would be in heaven. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
absolutely. It's part of my dream is coming true.
I
Every,
was gonna say, I think that's every little girl that ever wanted. Well, what little girl doesn't want a horse?
hey, you keep feeding her passion. It's a slippery slope. It's either horses or drugs, right? And get her onto horses.
Yeah, awesome. On that note, what do you see happening in the next 18 to 24 months? How do you see this playing out? The new place, and do you guys have new plans or any new endeavors to go with what you're doing?
Yeah. So the moving into this new horse property and the new home and the new area, number one, I think from a business standpoint, it gives, like I had mentioned before, it's going to have a great opportunity to film in new locations, have really cool backdrops. Central Oregon is really famous for a lot of hiking, a lot of outdoorsy activities, very nature loving in that area. And so I also have some really big like hot tubs in my property, which is really cool. So I think just the house and the area itself gives new opportunity to film some different things. Um, and then I think 18 to 24 months, I would love to do some collaborations with other creators. It's a little hard to get that together and get people together and get it officially on the schedule, but
Yeah, because I was gonna
doing
say, how often does that happen?
well, some creators it's pretty easy. Some creator, you just need to find people that are really that match your chemistry, that kind of match the same vibe that you have. I'd really love to do more, and I will start focusing a little bit more on some collaborations with other women, working with other women, having more group opportunities, and just being able to provide that different level of content to my patrons. So that's something that I'm really interested in. Next 18 to 24 months, personally, I still ride and I still compete. And so I will be competing internationally again, this time only in Canada. So not too far, just drive there. So I have to balance a lot of, okay, my work, which is very fun, and I want that to grow and I want to continue meeting and exceeding my goals that I set for myself. But also, the reason why I do this business is because it funds the really, really fun things that are that I'm passionate for. So It's always a balance, and I want to continue riding and competing internationally. I want to represent the United States at several other competitions. I want to travel with my horse. Um, and in doing so, I want to be able to travel and make great content too. So, um, onwards and upwards, and continue growing the business, but also just really enjoying what the business has afforded us, right? And the lifestyle and happiness that we want.
So how fast, once you started using TikTok and advertising, how fast did that escalate for you? What was that like? Okay, actually that's a good one. That's actually okay. Not only was it like this, but what was it like the first day you woke up and you're like, holy cow, honey, we did it. Well, there had to be
Yeah.
that one day. There had to be that one day you woke up and you're like, that's more than I expected.
You're absolutely right. So we did have that one day. Uh, I certainly won't get graphic with your viewers at all, but there was a video that I had made with my husband's push. He's like, I really think you should film this. It's really cool. And I think it would make a lot of money. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I was fighting. I was like, no, oh, just kind of out of my comfort zone. Cause I was still new. This was back in the summer of 2021. So 18 plus viewers here. So I suctioned something to the seat of my tractor and had a great time with that. And then I kind of advertised it
Yeah,
in a very
which was
like
smart. Yeah,
roundabout way. What?
your husband's very smart because that was probably a wise choice.
So it was, and this was back in 2021, when like the farm girl was kind of a new thing, and we just did a very, very nonchalant video that didn't show any of that, but a TikTok video. And that one TikTok video where I just kind of said, "Oh, this is what I did," it blew up to well over 1 million views instantly, and I went from making maybe about $2,000 a month to that month I made $31,000, and the month after that we did about like 28 or so. And so that really, I was like, holy shit, like this is insane. Like I didn't think this would ever happen. And so that was, I would say that was the one day when I was like, okay, all right, TikTok's on to something. Like I just need to advertise what I do and advertise the videos that I make and make sure I have a good online presence, because that's what's driving everybody there. So that was insanity. I was like,
Yeah, that's
I
so
will quit
cool.
my job. This shit sucks.
Yeah, yeah, because that's not a bad month, man. 20, 20, 30 grand is not a bad month for anybody.
No, it's not. Yeah, it made it really hard to go back to work the next day after I saw all of that. So I tell you what, getting on the 7 a.m. conference calls to talk about dumb shit, I was like, wow, I could not be doing this. I stuck it out for another year, but
Did you? Oh, well, congratulations. I'm proud of you because that's
yeah,
that had to be slightly humbling, and actually
yes,
it probably was the wiser choice, because if you
yep,
get too arrogant too fast and you're not really grounding yourself, um, it can slap you in the face.
absolutely. Yeah, I didn't leave my job until May of 2022. So I stuck with it and had the
So
two.
that's not even that long ago. That's not even that long ago.
I
Wow.
know it's less than a year. But that was definitely the point where I'm like, all right, well, I gotta up my game. And ever since then, it's just been trending upward. So it's been
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, that's great. So, I don't know how many people do you have subscribed to you?
So it definitely fluctuates.
Okay.
And that's okay. I don't mind. The people that are really committed to me commit, and it's great. And if people only want to stay on for 1 month at a time and not turn their rebill on, it's totally fine with me. I don't hold it against anybody. The most I've ever had subscribed to just my OnlyFans was about 6,400 or
Oh,
so.
okay.
And then I also have Fansly, which is a lesser known platform, but a platform that I love so much better. It gives such a better customer service experience. I had about just shy of 1,000 people at the
Okay.
top. So it fluctuates here and there, but it's all right. It's
Bailey, I'm
okay.
not gonna lie to you. I've never been on OnlyFans, so I have no idea. Like Instagram, if you got over 50,000 people on your thing,
Yep.
that's a big deal. But TikTok, it's got to be more like 250,000. And
Yeah.
so I don't know what those numbers mean. I'm not sure how that translates, and I don't know if other people do either. $6,000 doesn't sound bad because they're paying. I don't know. Now, how does that's another thing I'm not sure of. Like, if they ask for extra, do they pay extra?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So that could snowball really fast.
It does. Okay, so think of Fansly and OnlyFans as a strip club. Okay.
Okay.
So to get into the door, you pay a cover, right?
All
So
right.
you pay your $5 color cover. And then you can see all the girls dancing or the girl dancing and you like what she does. And so you're like, hey, I'd like to have a lap dance. And she'd be like, all right, well, that's $30 or I don't know, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So if you want something like a video, you pay more. But if you just want to sit there and just watch her dance and do her thing, then you can just do that and you've only out the cover charge, right? So my subscription is only $8 a month, and that you get two posts a day every single day and photos and videos. But if you're like, oh, I want to see more videos or longer or anything like that, then yes, there is a payment expectation. So and I always try to make sure I keep my prices relatively low because
I was
I
just
get it.
gonna ask, how do you decide the supply and demand? I'm actually rather intrigued now that we're talking about it. I'm totally intrigued.
Yeah, you're
Because I
good.
well I never looked. To be honest, I didn't know what to expect, and I always liked. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of porn anymore, so I kind of like the. Yeah, I'm nothing against it. Not that I have it. It's just the thrill of chase is more fun for me.
Oh
So,
yeah,
so I'd rather
absolutely.
work for it and earn it, and I like the real deal. I feel it, but
Yeah,
um, yeah, it's wild. I'll be honest with you. I remember I made a joke at work one time. I was like, I'm going to start my only fans myself, but I'll just send out nudes until someone pays me to stop.
yeah. I mean, shoot, try it, but you just got to make sure you
I'm
advertise.
pretty sure that's sexual harassment. Nothing less, if nothing else. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
I never understood the ins and outs. Yeah, I never asked. It never crossed my mind to ask how it works exactly.
yeah,
But that was a really good way of describing it.
yeah, and again, like a business owner, it is not lost on me that you can go get porn for free at any time, at any moment. You can for free search anything that you want for free on those free sites. And so for me, I'm like, I get it. And I appreciate the people that are paying to watch me. And so in my philosophy, I don't want to charge crazy amounts for you to see my videos. My most expensive video, I think, is $20. And that's like a 30-minute video, right? Like I'd rather have more people be apt to pay a reasonable price
Yeah.
than some creators that I totally disagree with. They charge asinine prices for what they do. And you know what? That's their business. If you want to sell $100 video that's only 5 minutes long, that's your thing. But I want to do what I want to do, and I price it smart, and I just try to make it reasonable for all my fans.
That's awesome. No, I think that's probably the better strategy, anyways. But the free stuff, it must get boring after a while,
It must.
right? So the real girl willing to talk to me and work through, okay, I will do a striptease for you.
Mhm.
Sounds way more fun and unique. Especially, is it like a private thing? Can you ask for something? Can I say, uh, Bailey, I want you to do a striptease just for me?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's called ordering a custom. And that's what I had to pause while I was in the middle of moving and still am in the middle of moving. But usually those I price a little bit more just because it's very specific. Usually I have to say someone's name, which is totally fine. And I really only am able to sell that video to that one person because that's exactly what they wanted. And it's usually name driven, and they usually give me a lot of detail about. I ask, well, how do you want my hair? What do you want me to wear? What color? What do you want me to say? Is there something you want me to do? And because I would like to make it a good experience for them. So yeah, I price those a little bit more. Those are probably in like the $60 to $75 range,
Yeah,
depending on the
yeah.
length of the video. But
Oh
something
yeah,
that's
yeah.
very, very personal, yeah, that's doable.
Well, you're a sweetheart. You sound like you would really put your heart into what you're doing. And
No, I care. I don't want shitty products going out the door. Like I care about filming and making it look good. So
Very neat. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I had no idea. Well, you know what? I kind of thought it was going to be a higher production than you would think, because some of the girls are in the morning and in the early afternoon. They're putting a lot of time and effort into telling everybody what they're about to do. They're putting on their makeup, and it looks. And you see some of the background cameras and all the extra lighting, and I'm like, oh, okay. This
Yeah.
girl means what she's doing. She's putting some effort in. So that's a unique. Who would have guessed? I would have never guessed this would even be a thing. And
Yeah.
I wonder what the next. I wonder what the next version is. I wonder what the next
Right.
TikTok's gonna be. I have no idea
Right.
what the next 5 years is gonna look like.
Yeah, and we just have to evolve with the time, right? And that's why it made going out as a self-employed person and leaving the.
And we were on a good flow, and yeah, I'm gonna have to
Oh, this is
bite the
great.
bullet.
No, I really enjoy oh, my dogs are playing behind me. I really enjoy when people genuinely are curious and they ask a lot of questions and because I do think there are a lot of stereotypes about what we do. And just like I mentioned, that a lot of the gals, they're educated and we're
Yeah.
smart and we come from good careers. We're not just like baristas that are high school dropouts, right? So I really appreciate when someone genuinely wants to get to know what we do and how it works and all of that. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna make my dogs not play fight in here. Hey, out. I swear they Mortal Kombat like all the time in the most inopportune times.
And that's what dogs are supposed to do.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've had my old coworkers who didn't really understand what I did. Like I had a good friend of mine who lives in Dallas and she was just straight up curious. And she's like, you left the firm and what are you doing? And I know you do OnlyFans, but what is all that about? And so I told her and she's like, and she has a very business mind too, just like me. And she was like, holy shit, like I didn't know you had to do any of this. I didn't realize you had to do so much work. I didn't realize you could be really successful and be very profitable, but I didn't realize that it wasn't just about you can't just, oh, I'm going to post a nude picture of myself online and I'm suddenly going to make $1,000, right? Like she didn't realize there's so much more to it. And I told her, I'm like, girl, I'm like, it's running a business. It's not
Yeah.
just the product. It's everything else, right?
Well, it's
And
the adventure. It's the adventure. It's
it
the
is.
unknown and the adventure that makes it all worth it. And I think that's why I'm so curious. I love
Absolutely.
hearing everybody's. There was one guy, he's running for president 2024. He only got like 13 states, but I'll be honest with you, I loved the entire concept that he was willing to go balls out and just throw himself out there. I wanted to hear what got him there. And
Yeah.
I want to hear what got you there. I want to hear what got the tile guy there. I want to know all of it. It's just it's intriguing to see different people's take on adventure, and I think we
Absolutely.
all need to do that. I think everybody has a chance in their life, an opportunity or two, to follow a passion and do something unique and do something that they weren't so that wasn't the easy road.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
they took the chance, it was worth it, and they knew it. And I would say 3/4 of the people don't do it.
It's scary. It's like looking down a cliff, right? And there's no safety net. And sometimes you just got to take the leap. And if someone's going to call you crazy, just let them call you crazy and just jump off the cliff. So, yeah, you just got to do it sometimes.
Very cool. Bailey, on that note, I appreciate everything, and I want to be able to give you a chance. Plug away OnlyFans. And what's the other company there? The other one you like even more?
It's called Fansly,
Fansly.
Fansly.
All right.
Truthfully, in my preference, it's such a better platform, and I wish it would uh, gain a little bit more steam and a foothold in the industry. It gives the user a way better experience, and it's much more friendly to creators. So, for example, OnlyFans is very unfriendly to creators. They don't allow certain types of porn, certain types of content. Um, they block a lot of certain words, which are, in some regards for some people safety. But OnlyFans, although I swear this company makes billions of dollars, but it glitches, messages don't send, it won't load, the server will go down. And then, but
That's so weird.
Fansly, is like I've never had an issue, and they're a little bit smaller of a company. And if I ever have a technical issue, I email them, they email right back and they fix it. And I'm talking to a person. Um, I just wish Fansly would gain a little bit
Do
more
you know what they need to
traction.
do? Do you know what they need to do? They need to get themselves a Joe Rogan where he's
They
only on.
do.
You know, they got to figure whatever version of that can be, and
Yeah.
or maybe sell a certain product that no one else sells.
Yes.
Some kind of barista. I don't know. I have no idea what can be unique to them, but find something unique to stick out because it's got to be a huge market. It's got to be a huge market.
It is. And some things that people don't think about is so OnlyFans takes 20% cut from every transaction. As I mean, Fansly does as well. They also take 20%, but I feel that Fansly actually uses their money to fix platforms and make it faster and add they're always adding they're sending me emails with new features that they're doing. And OnlyFans here is I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? These guys are still glitching, and they're taking 20% of my earnings. This is stupid.
Well,
So
you get the write off to 20%, so it's not like it's a loss.
yeah. um and then we have to pay taxes on our net, so
Well,
that's
if you well, hold on. You buy a tractor, you buy what suctioned on the tractor and a horse or anything else, and you just stand next to it with a picture, that counts as a write off.
it does. I mean, since I worked in the financial sector, I try not to lie to the government, but yeah, there are a lot of things that you can qualify as a business expense. So travel, office supplies, equipment, there's some justification and there's a timestamp on your camera from using it or whatever it is, then yes, it's a business expense.
Yeah.
So I've had many at length conversations with my CPA about what can be deducted and qualified as a business expense, but
And
and what cannot.
yeah,
So
and there's a lot.
which is cool because it's kind of like when you're a model or an actor or whatever, like your business expenses aren't necessarily paper from Kinko's, right? It's like I bought a fancy new pair of shoes. That's a business expense because I wear it as a
I went
costume.
out to dinner. I went out to dinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But me and my father were self-employed for a while, and if I remember correctly, I don't think we ever paid more than 10%.
As for taxes
Yeah.
or
So I'll be honest with you. Under that circumstance, we paid less taxes than when we were working for somebody else. So when I would get a W-2, I was actually paying more like 25%, 30%.
I think I'm still about around the 20-ish percent.
Well, you know
20
why? I think you're making a little bit more money than we were, so it's kind of harder to get that percentage down, probably.
maybe. Because
But
I do have an LLC.
okay,
So it is a
yeah,
LLC with a partnership denotation. Um, and I pay our quarterly taxes. That's another thing.
yes,
So
because you don't want to pay the fine. You don't want to pay the fine.
right.
Yeah.
But that's something that bothers me too, especially when I get a lot of hate online and people are like, get a real job, and they just want to troll you. And I'm like, or I love the one where people say, you're not contributing to society by being a thirst trap. And I'm like, excuse me. I think the actual definition is contributing to society is me paying my fucking taxes. And you know what? I paid more in taxes than you do in your damn salary, asshole. Like, I mean, like I still pay quarterly taxes as a business and file and all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that is definitely
And,
contributing to society.
yeah, and you've got to be able to say I've got a record of this for 4 to 7 years because you have no
Yep.
idea when the IRS is going to come and make sure you're doing it correctly. So
Yep.
W-2, you don't have to do that. You don't
Right.
have to do any of those things. And not only that, man, you're you're putting in 10 times more effort. I don't think they realize, say you make a $500,000, the tax bracket is not 20%. I
Right.
think, yeah. So it's no joke. You're writing down everything because who wants to
Yeah.
give half? No one wants to give half.
No.
No one. Although,
I always tell everybody there's no man that will ever fuck me as hard as Uncle Sam. No
I've
man.
never, yeah, yeah,
No
right.
man. Um, but yeah, I there is a lot of work behind the scenes, and there is a point in the business where, yeah, I can kind of coast a little bit, and it's only because I can let off the gas as far as hard work, only because I've spent so much time in building it up and having it recur and building that platform. A lot of people see the tip of the iceberg, like, oh, you shake your butt on TikTok for 6 seconds and you think you can make $1 million. I'm like, well, I also have built this entire, empire behind me that supports it. So it's a job. It does take a lot of time, but there are some times and some days where I spend the entire day moving my house and packing
Yeah,
up
right.
boxes.
Yeah.
I'm not working on a Tuesday from 8 until 5, right? I'm just check a couple things, make sure I dot the I's, cross the T's, and all my fans are taken care of, and then carry on my merry way.
Well, Bailey, I appreciate the hard work. I appreciate the adventure and the risk. I think it's super cool. I think
Cool.
everybody else will too.
Well, good. Well, like I said, I appreciate someone listening and asking the good questions and being more curious than being curious and not condescending. So that's
Oh
something.
no, no, no! It was never going to go down that
Oh
road.
yeah.
Because well, number one, I have no vested interest in you not wanting to promote the podcast and say, "Hey, I was on a podcast yesterday."
Yeah.
I want someone to want to be a part of that. It makes that a lot more fun. And why hate on someone that's trying to do something that I would never understand that in general?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't got time to hate on anybody. I'll be honest with you, I don't got time for much. I got 6 kids. I'm constantly busy. So I appreciate you, and I want you to be able to plug away. Like I said, go ahead and what was your OnlyFans and what's your family account?
Fansly. Yeah.
Fansly.
So all my links are in my 2 Instagram accounts that I have, just with the links in my bio. Or you can usually I go by the nickname Bailey Brews. I was called Brews as a kid, so that's my mate or my maiden name. But yeah, Bailey Brews on OnlyFans. I think just Bailey Brews on Fansly as well too. So yeah.
Okay. Well, Bailey, I hope you have a great transition to the new house. I hope
Awesome.
everything goes nice and smooth and you can get back to doing all the custom stuff and not have to say no to any. Because it must be daunting. You're like, I got to say no again. I'm so sorry. You got to believe me. I have too much
Yeah.
on my plate and there's too much going on in the background. I can't do it right now. But if you come back next week, I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah, I have a lot of disappointed people that are just chomping at the bit for me to get. I actually have people are like, "Are you back yet? Can you do these things?" I'm like, "No, I'm still busy. I'm so sorry, but stick with me one more month."
You know what you should do? You should do like a run by and show everybody the progress of getting out of the house and stuff. They
Yeah,
probably
right. Like, look at all these boxes. Okay.
All right, Bailey,
Well,
you have a
thank
great
you.
night, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks again. Take care. Bye, Reagan.
See you later.
Weather is good, sun is shining, shining. Don't get my vibe.